The internet guru I spoke to before the break, millions of people swear by their miracle medications, but at what cost? Kevin Malley says the hair loss drug Propecia did more than grow his hair. He says it made him slip into a mental fog, it made him impotent, and even shrank his genitals. Dr. Sharon Berquist from Emory University standing by. But Kevin, those are tough things to admit, especially to the world, coming on national television and doing it, international television. Why do it?
Well, I want to warn other men who might be considering Propecia that this drug is extremely dangerous, and it's not what Merck said it was.
You are part of a class action lawsuit against Merck, the company that makes Propecia. And they say that Merck believes that Propecia, which is finasteride, has demonstrated safely and inefficacy profiles, and the product labeling appropriately describes the benefits and the risks of the drug to help inform prescribing. So they saw no causal relationship between the use of Propecia and continued sexual dysfunction after discontinuing the treatment. How do you respond to that? Well, if the warning labels are adequate, why did they have a discrepancy in the warning labels between the continents? And they also changed the warning labels 4 times in the past 2 years. So obviously Merck knows that there is a danger, but they don't want to properly warn the public. How old were you when you started taking it? How long ago did you start taking it?
I took it off and on from May to October 2011.
And when did you
started noticing serious?
Yeah. When did you start noticing the side effect?
I started noticing severe problems around October. I was doing jiu-jitsu with my girlfriend, and I noticed my body wasn't responding correctly. And then when it was time for sex, I noticed things weren't responding properly either. So I got off the drug, and I fully expected things to get better, but that's when the side effects got extreme.
What did your doctor say to you?
The exact opposite. Doctor said, there's nothing we can do for you. Give it some more time. And I gave it 6 months. I went back to the doctor. I was worse than ever. And he said, there's nothing I could do for you. I've been on testosterone replacement therapy for a couple months, and that's only had moderate improvements.
Dr. Berquist, to you now, Kevin says it got even worse for him after quitting the drug, and that was almost a year ago. Is that common?
That is not common from these drugs. Again, with these two cases, I think they're both have their similarities, but there are also some differences. Of course, in both these scenarios, we have people taking drugs to enhance performance in some capacity or to essentially fight nature. The difference is Mr. Asprey is using this drug essentially in a way that is not its intended use. And he is essentially a guinea pig because we do not know long-term effects and we don't know what happens with unintended use.
So you wouldn't recommend it?
I would not recommend it.
So then how are people going in, though, and getting prescriptions for drugs where they don't have that particular ailment?
I think there are several different scenarios. I think one is some physicians are maybe not as rigorous in their diagnoses of certain conditions.
Should they be?
I think there should be. To your point, you mentioned that anybody could say, I have trouble sleeping, but not everyone who's having trouble sleeping has a sleep disorder. And I think we need to be testing and to be more rigorous to differentiate the people who are more appropriate.
What about more warnings? Because as you've seen the commercial, and it's like, can cause this, and you're like, oh my goodness. I mean, how many more warnings can you get on there?
Yeah. I'm not sure we need to be putting more warnings. I think that what we do need to be doing is comparing the benefits against the potential harm of these medications and making educated decisions based on that information.
Doctors who do it, legal? Is it legal? Is it moral? Should we be looking more into it? Or they're doing what they're supposed to do? They're working within the bounds of being a doctor.
Right. I think, there are two sides to this. From a patient standpoint, I think patients should have that right to make their own health decisions, and we as physicians should help educate to help them get there. However, these are federally controlled substances. And in the case of Provigil, this is a controlled substance with a habit-forming potential. So when you're having a physician prescribe it, you are pulling in ethical considerations as well as legal considerations.
Yeah.
I mean, Don, it wasn't long ago that Michael Jackson's physician was convicted of involuntary manslaughter. So where is that fine line between what is okay and ethical and what is truly causing harm?
Dr. Berquist, thank you very much. And I should tell you again, Kevin has made this his mission. He's part of a class action suit. And when that's finally settled, Kevin, we invite you back to come on. Thank you so much. We appreciate it, okay?